All right, everyone, welcome back to Course of Action. Thanks for joining me again tonight live on a release day. This is the second release day, and Ryan Steck, again, is here on a release day special, but he brought along best-selling author Simon Gervais. Simon, how you doing, man?
Doing well. Hi, Jeff. Ryan, always a pleasure to speak with you both.
Yeah, absolutely. Man. Thanks, Ryan, for joining us again on release day. You guys released The Second Son, your team up book today, which is fantastic. I loved it. It's refreshing. It's something new this year, and we're going to get into that and how things kind of teamed up to get there. But Simon, how does it feel to release a book with another author?
Feels good. You know, it's not a project that I would have done with just anyone. Ryan and I have been friends, and something that we'll maybe talk later today. The fun thing is that we've never met in person. We've known each other for 10 years, but we've never met in person. So don't know why. Maybe I travel too much. Maybe he doesn't travel enough. I don't know.
Yeah, we got to get Ryan out of the house.
Exactly. But I was going to say, I kind of forgot what I was going to say, actually. What was I saying, Ryan? Oh, how does it feel to work with someone? The thing is, Ryan, I've known him for 10 years, and he's a great writer, and I thought he was the right partner for this project. And it's been seamless, honestly. It's been a lot of fun. We push each other to do better. I don't know. I don't know how you feel, Ryan, about this, but for me, it's like if some people have asked me, how is it to work with Ryan? Like I say, guys, it's a 10 out of 10 for me. Honestly, this is how the process and the enjoyment of having a writing partner for me with Ryan has been a 10 out of 10.
Right.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you.
Follow that.
It's been good, dude. Like, I don't know if you know this, but we're a power couple now. Someone said that in an interview. And so it's Facebook official. Yeah, man. Power couple. That's what we are. Yeah, I don't think this works with anybody. I don't. Like, I really don't. I can't tell you how many authors have reached out to me just since the deal was announced. And it was like, what's it like to co-write? You know? And I'm like, well, it's great. But then I stop and I think about that for a minute. And I'm like, it's probably not for everyone. You have to have the same vibe and the same goals and no ego. And I think that's the key, dude. You can have zero ego in this for it to work well. And I can honestly say that we just, for both me and Simon, we leave that, you know, at the door. When we sit down for like developmental conversations, it's so fun. I'll have a good idea sometimes, and I'll feel pretty strong about it. But I'm smart enough to know that, like, well, first of all, I can usually tell if it's good based off like his face as I'm pitching it, you know? And I'm like, I'm losing it. This is not it. And then, but like, here's the thing. If I think I have a good idea and he comes back and goes, hey, I like that, but what if we did this? It's not hard to figure out who has the better idea. And as long as there's no ego, and truly there's not for me and him, then you just do the best idea. And the shared goal is like, do we want to just give the best product we can for our readers? And when that's the common, like, singular goal, and you're both just fighting for that, then it's so fun. It's so rewarding. I mean, it's definitely funny on launch day because I think we both have like readers that are, you know, coming to this thing. And I don't know how much Simon's looked through some of the noise from today, but I saw like a bunch of comments and stuff right off rip that was like, oh, I love Ryan's books. I can't wait to read this. But then there's the opposite side of that. And like my favorite review so far is like, all Ryan's parts really sucked. Simon's trying to carry this book. But you can tell who wrote what. And I'm like, no, you can't, because we don't even know who wrote what, dude. I promise you we don't. You could read a line from that book right now, and I promise we wouldn't know which one of us came up with it because we both touch every page by the time it's done.
Exactly.
That's pretty funny. In this genre, there isn't a lot of team up books. You know, we're used to Andrews and Wilson, you know, Brian and Jeff doing their thing for a very long time. But outside of, you know, Mark Greaney, back when Clancy was still alive and him kind of sitting down and writing with him, there hasn't been a lot of this in the genre. I feel like you guys are getting ready to break that mold and really usher in a new wave of creativity with you guys. Kind of, what was it like going into this, knowing there isn't a lot of this? How is the reception going to be? Are people going to dig me and Ryan? You know, are the people going to question it? Was there any nervousness about it, or were you guys pretty confident?
I think it's first of all, I think we were pretty confident, but you're right that there's always questions. And for me, the question is, will reader expect what we're giving them? And in fact, the objective was to surprise them. So The Second Son is not a Simon Gervais book, and it's not a Ryan Steck book. It's the best of us combined together.
Mm-hmm.
And we went into an alley that I've never explored before. It's a little bit of a police procedural as well.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of espionage, but there's a little bit of procedural. So this is not something that a hardcore Simon Gervais book reader will say, "Oh, I'm disappointed." No, because there's a little bit of me in this, but I wanted to explore something else. And with Ryan coming in, I think it gives off even more depth, more writing skills to be able to go into all those different subgenre at the same time. Still, it's a book that's really, really grounded, that all of my reader will recognize, and Ryan's reader will recognize as well. Mm. So it's not really a surprise. Like there's no sci-fi in there. You know, it's grounded. It's police work. It's espionage. It's something our fans will enjoy.
Oh yeah.
Dude, he's right. You start seeing my name on fantasy and things like that, you know, sales did not work out in the thriller world, because that was not it. That's not what no, man, look, it's honestly, Jeff, it's a book that it took both of us to write. You know what I mean? Like, you've read it, like, you know, there's big action, of course.
Yes.
And then there's big twists. There's big surprises. And mostly I'm just thankful that, like, dude, I don't think our power couple status is going to last that long. I'm glad this book came out in 25, because we get to 26 and you've got Brad Thor's got to team up with Ward Larson, and Jack Carr's got one with MP Woodward. And I'm just thankful that they all waited till 26 so we could really shine and as the new couple in 25. But it's been really fun. I never really thought what would, you know, readers think of us teaming up. I have covered Simon from day one of his career, before his first book came out. He is such a better writer today than he was back then, man. It's been cool. Like, I've literally covered this dude for over a decade. And
it's so funny you say that, Ryan. Let me just say, because sometimes when I go to dinner with friends and they say, you know, tell me what books you write, I usually don't mention my first series that you're talking about, Ryan.
Really?
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. I just thought it was funny. Like, sometimes I just keep it under the radar.
It's funny that you say that, because I was literally just talking to someone. They're like, dude, I want to read your books. Where should I start? And I told them, get my third one. They want to read my series. And they're like, should I start at the beginning? And I was like, yeah, it's not my favorite. Like, I feel like I'm a better writer. Maybe just get the third one. And they're like, I'm going to start at the beginning. And I was like, all right, well, just don't quit reading until you get to the third one. And so, yeah, it's funny, man. I think, like, we can all judge ourselves. But, like, I knew exactly what Simon brought to the table. You know, I knew exactly what I was signing up for. And then it genuinely happened so organically. So I had him on my Twitch channel. And afterwards, we were catching up. You know how it works. You're no longer live, so we're just shooting the breeze. And I don't even remember how it happened, Jeff, for real. I mentioned the concept. He liked it. We were going back and forth and spitballing. We ended up on a call. Simon, weeks later, maybe a few weeks later.
Yeah, something like
we did
that.
A Zoom. So we started coming up with this, like, concept. Now, look, this is what I mean. Zero egos. I do remember this. I had what I thought was, like, top, middle, bottom, like, good to go. And I sent it to him, and then he was like, yeah, I'm going to play with this a little bit. And then he just ripped off the second and third floors. And what he built on top of it, instead, I was like, oh, man, that is so much better. And it was at that point that I'll give credit to Simon. I think it was at that point he was like, we should get a book deal for this. And he took point on that. And before I knew it, you know, we were working on an outline and writing a sample together. And that was funny even then, because I don't think even our agents could tell who was writing what. When we did a sample, I don't think they knew. No one really could tell. We were sure of that. And it was preempted by Thomas and Mercer. And Man, it's wild like how fast it went, because today is pub day and it's like a blur.
4 months since Red and Simple book deal. About 4 months it took us to come up with the idea, write an outline, write the 50 pages. Yeah.
And now it's out, and that's wild, dude. It went really quick. It did.
And it's a great book. I mean, it's a great, great book. It's really refreshing. I can see, as a long-term reader of both of you, I can see the bits and pieces from both of you in it. And I think it's such a classy and very well done mesh of the two, because, like Ryan, you said a minute ago, it could have went off the rails when, you know, Simon went in there and ripped the second and third floors off there and said, hey, let's mix this up, you know. But it meshed together so well. How did you guys come up with that mutual envision of who Chase Burke is?
I'll take this one first, because it's really funny to me. Because I remember when I sent Simon this concept and they sent it back, he was like, I really like your idea. And then I got it back and I was like, dude, I don't think you liked it, because it's like 80% different. Like, I don't know. So I remember that was just funny. Like we literally talked about that. And I will say this, it's so crazy, but I think Chase Burke was just like fully fleshed out to us right away. There's a lot of Simon in him. You know, all the wine expert stuff is so not me. The fancy lifestyle and all that. You can tell from our backdrops, like, come on, that was all him. And it's funny because I don't know, we've done 10 interviews together, and everybody that interviewed us is like, Simon, clearly the fantastic lifestyle and fancy this and that and wine expert, that's all you. It's like, Ryan, what'd you bring to Chase Burke? And I'm like, maybe just dysfunctional family stuff. I don't know, man. Like, I'm not sure how much of me made it in there, but it is pretty funny because at some point we were sitting around and my agent goes, well, Ryan, Chase Burke, don't you have a son named Chase? And I was like, yeah, I do. And he's like, isn't he your second son? I was like, yeah, he is. I mean, guess I did that one, you know, without even thinking about it. So yeah, so I brought that. Nailed it, man. Brought that. That was all planned for sure.
Simon, what was it like for you to kind of interject some of those things of your lifestyle about there and it go over so smoothly? Because Chase Burke is such a smooth character, but at the same time, he gets gritty and he gets into action, which you're very used to, but you kind of get those things in there. I love the wine stuff. Like, to me, that is it's just a classy element. Like, we're so used to guys having, you know, tactical backgrounds and special ops backgrounds and all those kinds of things in their toolkit, and then you bring in someone who's like that, has the wine background, but it almost feels like a weapon. Like, that's his thing, and I really like that. What was it like for you, kind of massaging that in there and making it work so well?
Well, it's funny because you mentioned guys with spec up background, things like that. It was important for me and Ryan not to have a guy that was a former special forces. We wanted him to know how to manipulate weapon, right? We wanted him to be able to fight, but we didn't want him to be a special tactics guy. We wanted to have him a little bit more grounded. As for the wine stuff, it just happened that while we were discussing Chase Burke, my wife and I were doing our level 2 sommelier course. And I don't know any protagonists in thrillers that are, you know, sommelier or that are really into wine. Mm-mm. So I said, maybe we should introduce that with the character. It's going to give him perspective. It's going to allow him to work in fine dining restaurant. And Ryan, to his credit, jumped on that. He's like, yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. So that's why when he said it was already fleshed out, it's true. Like, didn't took a long time to come up with all these ideas. We all injected a little bit of ourselves into protagonist, and then the story just took off. It was super fun to write. I don't remember one day not being happy about working on the second son.
Wow.
Same, but I got to tell you, there were times that we injected parts of ourselves that the other one didn't know it, and I've never told this story, Jeff.
Okay.
Boy, I hope Simon's not mad I do tell it. But dude, it's so funny. So this is a true thing. At one point, he had written in like some stuff for Chase, and I was going through it, and he's got like this fancy watch that I was unfamiliar with. So like I Googled it. Simon's shaking his head, yes. So I mean this with love. But I looked at it, I was like, God, that's an ugly watch. Like that is. And then I saw how much it cost, and I was like, dude, who would ever spend that much money on that watch? So I'm just texting him right away, like, what ugly watch? And who would ever spend that much money on it? And he sends me back like a photo of his wrist, and it was a watch that Simon had. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's such a cool watch. That looks so good. That happened. That happened for sure. I've never told that story till tonight. Do you remember that, Simon?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's just funny. It's watches and cars and whatever. It's all about what you like. It's funny because we had a dinner with our friends over the weekend, and we were talking about clothes. And some people, they wear super expensive clothes, like really expensive clothes. And it's not me. Like, I don't dress with expensive clothes, but I like nice watches and I like nice cars. So this is my thing. But it's not because I love them that Ryan or you, Jeff, will enjoy it as much as I do. It's totally fine. And this is something we learn as a sommelier as well. Yes, nice, expensive bottle of wines are great, but if you cannot afford them, it's fine. If you enjoy a $12 bottle of wine, then enjoy it. It's perfectly fine. It doesn't have to be, stuff doesn't need to be expensive to be enjoyable. So,
oh yeah, 100%
so if
agree.
people don't like the watch that I have or the car that I drive, it's totally fine. It's not for everybody. So when Ryan tells me this story, I just laugh because I think it's funny. And this is why there's always a good banter between me and Ryan, because we don't take ourselves seriously. He likes his stuff, I like my stuff, and we try to include that in the story.
Yeah, I'm much more of, someone asked me just the other day, like, what is your style, if you had to put it into words? And I said, couchletic. I wear like a lot of joggers, a lot of Under Armour stuff, but it's more for like, I'm not always hitting the gym. It's more for like, I'm on the couch, after I'm done working. That's more my style. I'm a New Era cap guy, right? Like, and I have like a pretty impressive Hey Dude collection. I think I probably have 300 New Era hats. My wife's always mad when I buy them. So I think everyone has their own style. And it was fun for me too. Look, to play off of that with Simon and put some of myself into these characters and into Chase as well. It really was fun. But in a lot of ways, we're very different, and yet we're very much alike, right? Our backgrounds are very different, but we do view like writing and in a lot of career stuff the same way. So we're not all that different, and yet we are. But I also think that's why this worked really well. We do not take ourselves too seriously. I think there's never a conversation where we're not, laughing and just enjoying the moment. And at the end of the day, dude, like, we're writing books for, like, you're making stuff up for a living, and I just feel blessed that I get to do that. So yeah, I don't think it works to co-author with anyone, and I would say be very careful who you might have in mind if it's something that you want to do with someone. But like, for us, this worked really, really well. And I gotta tell you, like, the second Son was a blast, but I think the follow-up called The Marked Son, out next year, that was even more fun to work on together.
Something I'll add, though, like when we talk about the business of it all, it's important before you go into getting a book deal together that you have a contract between the two writers. Like me and Ryan, before we even approach publisher, we had an understanding, a written understanding on what is expected, what he expects of me and what I expect of him. It's always open to renegotiation at some point because you never know how, but at least at the beginning, you know where you're going. So there's no surprise. You know how you divide the work, you know how you divide the profit. So this is like groundbreaking, not groundbreaking, but I think it's ground rule, I should say, for any of your listeners that are thinking about partnering with another author at some point. This is very important. So there's no surprises.
Well, it's got to be a partnership, and it's got to last, right? It's got to, you can't do 1 or 2 books and then call it off. Like, you guys want this to go for a while. But go ahead, Ryan. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, I'll be totally honest with you. I forgot we ever did sign a contract before this got started. I would never, if you would have asked me that, I would have probably confidently told you, no, I don't think we did. But I'm sure Simon is correct. But that's what I mean. There's never been a dispute where we had to like break out a contract and look at it. You know what I mean? It's very much just been like, we have the same goal, and you're both willing to roll your sleeves up and get to work. And like, I'll tell you straight, there were times, you know, we're at different points because we each have our own series and things going on. And I remember with the second son, it was like the editing process. Man, I was working on an Alex Hawke book, and I was just slammed. And this is what I mean. It's so nice to have someone else that will come in and go, hey, I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. And I could, you know, there's just so much trust. Like, honestly, there's just a lot of trust that I didn't have to like worry about it. I don't have to, more than anything, when Simon steps up like that, I'm excited to see what he did. You know, that's what's really cool. I think if I send him something or he sends me something, we sort of attack it like we're the first reader. You know, I'm genuinely excited to see what he does. And I would hope that, you know, he's excited to read whatever I'm sending him.
Yeah, 100%. It's surprises that keep coming. It's like reading the same story, but at a different level. And when Ryan send me back stuff, it's always better than what I gave him, and vice versa. So that's why it's fun to work together. But to answer your question, Jeff, I know you were wondering if we are planning more books. Yes, we're in for the long run. Our objective is to get a renewal on the Chase Burke series, you know, and maybe start another series after that. Like, and we love working with Thomas and Mercer as well. I've been with Liz Pearsons and Gracie Doyle there for the last. My first book with them came in January 2019, and they made my career as a writer. So if we can stay with them, I'd love that.
Now, I want to switch gears just for a second and ask Simon a question, because, Simon, you worked with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, safeguarding dignitaries like Queen Elizabeth II and President Barack Obama. I want to ask you just a little bit. What is it like safeguarding a dignitary like Queen Elizabeth II and the President of the United States?
Right, I'll tell you, it's a lot of preparation.
Sure.
You know, the visit usually kind of lasts between 12 hours and 48 hours at the very most. And I think that 48 hours was when I think it was the premiere of Japan that came in. I can't remember, but for President Barack Obama, it was a very quick visit. But there's a lot of preparation. It's weeks of you know, a reconnaissance that we do before planning the route. It's like really, I think you were in logistic, right, Jeff, in the Air Force before?
Yeah.
So it's a lot about logistic. It's not about only bodyguarding, because the bodyguarding and the drivers, they're a very small portion of the entire protective detail that come. And when it's the President of the United States, it's even bigger than that, because he brings his own beast, he brings his own bodyguards and counter assault team and everything. So we need to work together for weeks on end before the actual 12-hour visit comes. When it's the Queen, also the Queen was something else. So it's two of the biggest visit that we had, but I also was attached to the protective detail of the Israeli ambassador to Canada and the United States ambassador to Canada. And these are daily escorts that we do with them. There's a specific team assigned to these detail, and we come to know them, because usually we do a rotation every 4 years. So you come to know these people. They won't be friends. They'll never be friends, but you kind of know pretty much them and their family very well after a few years.
We had the Supreme Allied Commander from Europe come over a couple years ago, and his advanced team came like a week before, and they were going through buildings, they were scanning them, sweeping them, doing all this stuff, this whole security team. And then a week later, he came with his whole team, and they swept it again right before he landed. And it was like a whole big deal because of who he is and what his job entails, and just him going somewhere, you know, TDY to give a speech is this whole deal. And I was like, wow, I was blown away. I can't imagine, you know, a leader of a country, you know, or royalty, you know, coming in and doing that. So I was really curious as to what that was like from your perspective and what it entails. And I'm sure it was a lot of preparation.
It's a lot of fun as well. Honestly, to be in that moment, you need to be switched on 100%. It's easy to get bored in these protective jobs because not a lot happen. but you need to be ready to go from 0 to 100 in a split of second. This is why a lot of people are burned out after a few years, because they're not on guard anymore, so they got rotated out, and then you have a new batch coming in that are more switched on. So this is the cool thing about the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, is that we're a big federal organization here in Canada, and we're the ATF, we're the DEA, we're the Secret Service, and the FBI all roll into one big organization. So you can do regular police work, then you can go counter-terror, you can be an air marshal, or you can be a bodyguard. There's a lot of things you can do. So it's not a boring career. You can move lateral transaction or lateral transfer across the entire organization.
Let's get back to Second Son for a second, and let's talk about Chase Burke. The story itself, I'm trying to give away no spoilers, but there's some family stuff going on here. His mother's got some memory problems, which plays a big role in the story, and also, kind of his relationship with his brother and kind of that dynamic. For you guys, what does the future of Chase Burke look like to you? And I want to get to individual answers on this. So Simon, I'll let you go first.
What would Chase Burke? Well, Chase Burke, I mean, for me, there's always a book that has been done about a certain plot. For me, it's all about building the character. So I want to introduce people that are close to him, that he's going to have relationship with, that readers will care about. I think this is the key to keep the readers in a series, is to make the protagonist interesting. And where he's going to go after, and the Mark son, I mean, we're actually Ryan and I just finished it up a few weeks ago. It's in Devidit right now. And you'll see him again running around the world, trying to do the right thing. And you never know who we can trust. So this is really, this is what we're going to have with Chase Burke, and hopefully we can continue the series as well.
Ryan, what do you think? We still got you? Or did we lose Ryan?
Yeah, well, it's possible.
We might have lost Ryan. Yep, we must have lost him.
All right. It's okay. All right. He's going to call back. Can you let him in again?
Yeah. Here we go. Ryan, do we got you?
Am I back?
Yeah, we got you now. Yeah. Simon.
So, yeah, we're getting a big snowstorm outside. So
Simon was just telling me about the future of Chase Burke.
You.
Okay, you could. Good. So you heard
I could hear you guys. You were frozen. I thought it was your end. Found out hard way it was mine. Yeah, I mean, look. Here's the thing about Chase. He's not the hero right away, right? Like what we wanted to do was explore how does someone grow into the hero.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like Simon mentioned, we didn't want him to have special forces background, and we didn't want him to be James Bond on day one. He doesn't need to be Mitch Rapp out of the gate. And to me, it was more compelling to have everyday type of issues, like family stuff. So the title alone kind of embodies who he is and his outlook on life. Like Chase is known as the second son. And so, like, what does that mean? So his older brother Michael is the golden boy, and he's just like the normal kid, right? That like can't get out of his big brother's shadow. He's lost his father. His father passed away. His mother has dementia. So as her memory and mind deteriorate, like, he doesn't know who he is anymore. And I think that's a big part of this book is Chase trying to discover his own identity. He's dealing with grief in a lot of different ways. So he's lost his father. His mom has dementia. His older brother, who's a hero and the golden boy, is killed. And really all he has is his job. He loves wine. He has his job. And then the woman that he loves is attacked in his restaurant. And he is too effective coming to her rescue, to the point where, the police sort of look at him and it's like, yeah, no, everyday guys don't just snap into action and save the day. You're in on it. And he becomes like suspect number one, has a target on his back. And so the only way for him to clear his name is to really go out there and find out what's going on. It's fair to say that I don't think Chase or me or Simon knew how deep the rabbit hole was going to go on this one. With him, we knew we wanted it to be very twisty, very, very full of surprises. But dude, we're writing this thing at a time when there was a lot of like crazy stuff happening in the world. And I just did on my Substack, we just did an interview with Mike Madden, and he has this great quote, and he said, "Fiction's the only place you can tell the truth anymore." Dude, I thought that was like so good because he's right. And my point to that is like, if we wrote a book and handed it to our publisher, and in that book you had a former president nearly assassinated, but the reason there was no one on the closest building to him is because it was too sloped at 45 degrees, they would laugh at us, give the book back, and tell us to fix it. And so we're writing this thing where it's like the threshold for realism is higher in fiction than real life today. And that's an interesting thing. But as the story moves, Chase uncovers this secret cabal known as Fathom. And he really has to sort of chase that to see where it goes. And the fun part about that is we were able to take things that were really happening and sort of just mention it and tie it into the story. And then where does he go long term? Well, I like to say this in interviews, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end to the second son, for sure. I want to be very clear about that. But also, when you get to the end, I think you're going to want to get the next one right away, because you see that there's developments and questions that you're going to want to answer. So while there's a contained story, beginning, middle, and end, yeah, we set it up for the next one. And so where does it go? Well, Chase is slowly learning more about him, who he really is, and how does he become the hero that he's going to need to be to take down this organization.
So what is?
I'm so happy that Ryan is so well spoken. My French one cannot go like you do. I need time to be able to explain stuff, and Ryan just always jumps on stuff and is able to do it perfectly.
Yeah, that was really good, Ryan. I mean, the beginning.
I want to read that.
Yeah.
Well, look, it's funny because I didn't know how French Canadian he was. I told him this recently. Our very first Zoom call with our agents, Simon was the last one on. It was pretty funny because he got on and I think his daughter had used his laptop, so it had like his daughter's name, and he's like, "I assure you, it's really me." And we all got a big kick. But prior to that, his agent is like, "All right, guys, we're just waiting for Simone," and I'm like, "Who's Simone? Why are they getting on this call?" And Simon pops in. He's like, "Oh, Simone," and I was like, "Oh, I get it." Like, so we go into all these interviews now and people are like, "Oh, Simone Gervais." And I'm like, "He's Simon Gervais. I've been covering him 10 years. And then I got Simon. He's like, "Well, actually, technically, I'm French Canadian." But I learn a lot from him and I get the biggest kick out of him. We did an interview. I've never forgotten it. I use it in my everyday vocabulary now. He's trying to describe something and he stops and he goes, "Wait, Ryan," mid interview, Jeff. "Ryan, wait, do you call it the single child or the lonely child?" And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "When there's just one kid, is it the lonely child or the single child?" And I go, "Bro, it's the only child. Okay, we call it the only child. You could be a single parent or a lonely parent, but it's the only child, right? Like, Jeff, you know this. Like, it's the only child." Dude, I've never gotten over that. I laugh so often about that. Every time we meet someone now and it's like, "Oh, you guys only have one kid, so you just have a lonely child." Like, I use that in my everyday vocabulary. So like, I learn a lot from him. So I love when they let me go second and I can just listen to Simon because, and that's the other thing is I genuinely think we enjoy each other's company, you know, and that's the other thing that makes this fun. I think what you see in an interview is what you get really, you know, it's not fake. I think neither one of us would be good at that at all. I'm for sure not. My wife would tell you that all the time. You know, she's like, "Your face is speaking very loudly right now." And I'm like, "Oh, my bad." You know, so I'm not real good at being fake. And I know he's not either. And I think what you see is what you get. And so that's another reason this is so fun. But yeah, I love learning different things that he says. It genuinely cracks me up. It's so fun.
I'm just happy that you guys can hear 90% of what I say. This is the best. I'm just glad my writing skills are better than my verbal skills and my speaking skills.
You give yourself not enough credit for sure.
Yeah.
But seriously, Jeff, you're gonna now say like, "Oh, you're the lonely child." Like,
I'm not gonna forget that.
Dude, Yep, it's so funny.
So this book is kind of a kickoff for 2026 almost. Both of you have a lot going on. We'll start with Simon. What's in store for 2026? And are we going to hear any Hollywood news out of you anytime soon?
Well, Hollywood is a constant play for me. We're pitching Elias right now. I have a great team. I have great film agents. We have a showrunner, producer. We have star attached. But when you're shopping a TV show, you're asking for $30 to $70 million. So they hear a lot of pitches and there's a lot of no's. So I think I was at the top of the game in publishing. I get all these books. I get yeses. I get to work with the best of the best. And then you get into Hollywood and it's back to square one. It's, we love it, but it's not for us type of thing. So there's a lot of that. But I have 3 projects on the go right now that I'm excited about. Will we hear anything in 2026? I don't know. I hope so, but it could be 2027. I thought 2025 was the year, but it doesn't turn out that it's going to be. So we'll see. I'll let as soon as I can say more, I will. But for now, we're still pitching. As for books, the second book in my Elias series, the ELIAS Enigma, came out last July. Elias Conspiracy is coming out next July, in July 2026. And then we're going to have The Mark Son, the second book in our collab series. It's going to come out in November 2026. So for me, it's going to be another 2-book year. And I think Ryan is 2 as well, or maybe even more this year. I'm not sure.
Like 3 or 4 next year, right, Ryan?
I've got 3. Yeah, I've got 3 next year. So I've got Ted Bell's Warmonger, March 31st. 2026, and then my 5th. Oh man, that went fast. My 5th Matthew Red novel, Target Down. I don't think we have a pub date yet, but I'm pretty sure it'll be summer. And then November we got the Marked Son, and I don't have Hollywood news. You will know when I do, not because I'll text you or call you. You'll be probably mid-interview and you'll just hear me shouting from Michigan with joy. Everyone will just know, man, if I hit it in Hollywood. And it sucks too, because like Simon gave a very dignified, diplomatic answer. I've been really close twice. And the first time got so close, and then there was like a writer's strike or the actor strike or something. There was a strike. Everything shut down.
Yeah.
Writer's strike,
so then the writer's strike. Then we started over. So then literally a year ago, right before Thanksgiving, I get the call that the people behind 24 were buying the rights to my stuff. Was told it's basically done. You can even get excited about it or we don't make this call. So, man, I was so pumped. I mean, I was on cloud 9, and then we got into creative calls, blah blah blah. Then the LA fires happened, and when the LA fires happened, everything just stopped, and it never started up again for me. We checked in, and it was we're not doing anything yet, and then it was just there's a shuffle, and people reprioritize different projects, and so I've been right on the goal line twice, and couldn't make it happen yet. So I'm more hopeful that the second son might make noise in Hollywood, because I personally think it would make a fantastic TV show. I really do.
It'd be an awesome mini series, a la like The Terminalist, where you could go multiple seasons based off the books.
Or the
8 to 10 really intense episodes. Oh yeah, or The Night Agent. Yeah, it's probably
The Night Agent. Matthew Quirk. Shout out Matthew Quirk. He's a good dude, really good writer. Yeah, man, I think it could be something like that. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens. But in the meantime,
who plays Chase Burke? Who do you think plays Chase
this
Burke?
Is so to get a star attached. It's months down the road, right? You need it's not at the top.
Who's the dream casting?
Yeah,
if we could
dream casting, who's your guy?
That's a good question, dude. That's a really good one.
I'm not going to say anything because you don't want to put something in people's head, and then when it's not,
That's fair.
It's not like we have the as well.
Everyone's going to picture me when I am available to star in it. I'll put that out there now. I probably could be had for like a lot less than the other Ryans, Gosling and Reynolds, and all the other ones are probably way more expensive than me. So I am available. You know what? I will say it's kind of funny because I obviously you get asked this as a writer, you know, who's your dream casting choice? And it's not that I feel like I can't say or won't say. It's really interesting. I've never said this before. I can always see my characters and I know what they look like, but I can never quite see their face. And I don't know how to describe that. I see them, I know them, but it's like I never get a very clear, like concise image of their, like a photograph in my mind of their face. I never have that. It's just really close. And it's like, I once read that Vince Flynn didn't quite know what Mitch Rapp looked like till he saw Eric Bana in, what's that movie? Black Hawk Down.
Yeah.
He saw Eric Bana in Black Hawk Down and said, like, that's Mitch Rapp. Really? And so, yeah. So I can tell you, like, with my series, I wrote Matthew Red with, oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't think of his name. Jason Momoa in mind.
Really?
I thought of Jason Momoa. My wife's a big fan of his.
There's a lot of wives that are big fans of Jason Momoa.
Yeah, I know. I'll tell you, man, my wife's a big fan, though. Like, I couldn't, if he ever makes it, I can't let her go on the red carpet, dude. We were watching Game of Thrones when he's playing, like, Drogo. He's got all, like, the mascara on, and there's, like, a scene, and I was like, man, that would be terrifying if you, like, got up in the middle of the night and he was just standing there. And I looked at my wife, Melissa, and she's like, I wouldn't be terrified. I was like, oh, get out of here. So, and that's the other thing is, like, when you get asked how much of the characters are really you. So we were honest tonight because we're on podcast. Like, I like radio. And so I usually do like 20 radio shows when my books come out. And they always just ask me, like, Ryan, how much of Matthew Red is you? And they can't see me. So I just say, don't Google me. We're the exact same. We are both 6'3" and 265 pounds of muscle. And, and then I always get nervous. People will Google me. So then I have to tell them the truth is I don't look nearly as much like Red as my wife wishes that I did, for sure. But yeah, my wife's a big Jason Momoa fan. I made the comment the other day. I was like, he might be getting too old to play Red. And my wife's like, no, he's not. And I was like, oh, all right. All right. So, I guess he's not. Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, I've had you on here almost 45 minutes now. I certainly appreciate your time. Congratulations on the second son. I'm looking forward to the reception and to the Mark son next year and what's going to become of Chase Burke. Again, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it. Simon, it was great to see you again. Ryan, I know we'll talk again soon, but make sure you go follow both of these guys. Go Google both of them. Follow the Rulebook Spy. Follow Simon on Instagram, Facebook, and all those. Pick up their books and watch for their big 2026 they got ahead of them. But thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, man.